Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for your patience here. I see John Fleming has joined. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining. And again, thanks for everyone's patience while we figure out this technology here. All right. Well, I'm here in case there is anything that any of you need. I work for the Congresswoman. My name's Victoria, so feel free to chat me or let me know if there's anything that you need. But otherwise, I'm going to kick it over to John.
Okay, great. And do you know how I share my slides?
Yep, so there should be an option at the bottom that says share screen.
Oh, okay. And then, but I guess I have to bring them up in PowerPoint in order to do that. Okay,
Yes.
I thought they would be preloaded when I sent them over. Let me, if I get to,
I can pull it up right here for you.
oh, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, great. Great. This is perfect. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Let me start out by, can you hear me okay, Victoria? You're good.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me start out by thanking you for your time to be here. And also, I'm a little not as tech savvy as I want to be. So the logo you'll see of the SBA is a little bit, it's out of date. We changed that last year or the year before. So please excuse that. And it'll look a little bit different. So when you were invited to come to this seminar, this webinar, there's a part on there about grants, and there's also a line that says and other assistance. And SBA definitely falls into, normally would fall into the category of other assistance. We do have some grant opportunities, but they're somewhat limited. It's not the bulk of what we do on a normal basis. As we all know, the past couple of years, things have changed, and we got more and more into the grant business. The grants right now for COVID are actually have been exhausted. There's no longer grants available at this time. Congress may change that in the next session. We don't know. But at this time, the only thing that is available that's COVID related is our direct loans through what's called EIDL. And I'll mention those a few times today. But real quick, if you wanted to access those, they're right on SBA.gov. The deadline to apply is the end of the year, December 31st. So SBA.gov, December 31st. Nonprofits are eligible, and it's for COVID relief, but it's a loan. It's not necessarily a grant. There's some small grants that are available. But go into EIDL, and there's some very small grants that if you're running a nonprofit and you're in a, excuse me, a developing area, underdeveloped area, then you can apply. So go ahead and check that out. All the information is on there. So let me get into a little bit about my presentation. There's only 5 slides, and I do welcome your questions. If you need to reach me, if you need to go to another session, if you want to reach me at john.fleming@sba.gov. Again, john.fleming@sba.gov. So what you see in front of you is what we normally do under SBA. We provide access to capital, small business counseling and training, federal contracting assistance, some regulatory relief, and then we have some local Delaware success stories. I'll go into each one of these during my time here today. Can you move to the next slide, Victoria? Next slide, please. Thank you. So I think, did we skip one? Can you try going back one, Victoria? There we go. So before I talk about normally what we do, let me talk about how we helped in during the COVID times. And this is where we really did do a lot of grants. So you may have some folks within Delaware or throughout the country that did receive grants from SBA. And these are some of the grants that we did. EIDL is economic injury disaster loan that was activated. We received over 14 million applications for that, and understand that we're still going through those applications. Not initially, but sometimes we handle applications 4 and 5 times because we ask for information. So we're still going through those. Again, that's open until December 31st. If you want to apply, go to sba.gov. PPP was the next round that we did. We got over 7 million loans under that program. There was rounds 1 and 2. That was a brand new program designed to look at your payroll, even if you were a nonprofit, and support your payroll numbers, make sure that people were still getting paid during the pandemic. And that if that program was done right, it was handled by your lender, and that became a grant program. It was what we called forgiveness. So we forgave your loan, and it became a grant for both nonprofit and for-profit businesses that was available. Businesses that we normally wouldn't even think about getting SBA assistance, we were able to do them through PPP. The next grant we held was the RRF fund. It was a restaurant revitalization fund. It was $29 billion for not only restaurants, but also for nonprofit things like VFWs, places that VFW, American Legion, places that served food and beverages. That program was funded for $29 billion through Congress. We used up all of those funds pretty quickly. The next set of grants we did, again, was both for-profit and for-profit and nonprofit, was SBOG, and that is shuttered venue operating grant. So this was theaters. These are grants given to theaters and performers and booking agents, producers, people that were affected in the entertainment industry, not only the theaters themselves, some of which were nonprofit theaters, but also the theaters, as well as performers and others that are involved in the theater business. That was at $17 billion. Then last but not least, Congress created a program called, for lack of a better word, 1112 program. It's referring to the section of the Small Business Act that funded it. And what this program did was it allowed SBA borrowers that were currently, as long as you were a current SBA borrower, Congress was able to set aside money to make payments for you on your SBA loan. So that in effect was a grant. That was a particularly good program because it saved businesses that were already on the books with the SBA. And there was no paperwork, there was no application involved from the borrower. The money was sent directly to their bank each month. We provided payments depending on the type of business you were. You received anywhere from 5 to 8 payments, monthly payments, in order to help keep your business alive during COVID. So all in all, we were over $1 trillion was given to the SBA to administer. That's why they call us the administration, not the association, but the Small Business Administration administered these programs. It's really in the neighborhood of about 1.4 billion at this point, or 1.4 trillion, I should say, at this point. Now, just to give you an idea, normally we would handle about, we wouldn't handle 1.4 trillion. We would handle about 400 billion actually 40 billion in transactions. So a lot was placed on the agency, and we're still going through some of those programs as we speak. Next slide, please, Victoria. Okay, so this is kind of what we do normally, and there are a couple of grant programs that I'll mention. So under access to capital, 90% of the people that get SBA assistance, and under normal times, and we'll see what that looks like coming out of the pandemic, but under normal times, this is a program that is for small businesses that are startups, you need more collateral, or you need a longer time to repay your loan, or maybe you're in a certain industry. For instance, the hospitality industry, restaurants, hotels, eating places, food, gas stations, those types of things that are somewhat risky, somewhat seasonal. They need SBA loans. Normally, if you qualify for a commercial loan, then you don't need SBA assistance. Then congratulations, you don't need the government to assist you. But under the 7A loan, what this does is it allows these certain businesses that I mentioned that fall into these categories, allows them to get a loan that they may not be qualified for under commercial circumstances. So it helps everybody. It's the bank's money. So the first step is to go to a bank, go to your lender. It's the government providing a guarantee, much like a student loan or a VA home loan. And the benefit to you is you get to start your business, or you get to continue your business, or buy your building, whatever you may want to do. And then at the end of the day, the government hopefully creates a situation where you've been successful and creates a tax base. That's under 7A. Now, there is a small caveat to that, what we call our 504 loans, and that is for land and building. If you want to buy your building, and you could get low rates for up to 20 years, low fixed rates for up to 20 years. And these programs, both the 7A and 504, are strictly for for-profit businesses. Nonprofits are ineligible for these two programs when we, under normal circumstances. And that didn't change under PPP or COVID. They just created a whole new program and left these alone. These are what we call our traditional SBA programs. I have a couple acronyms at the bottom. I apologize. That's what we do in government, is we love to create acronyms, and I'll go through those. So one is SBIC, Small Business Investment Company. And again, Small Business Investment Company. When you think of this, that would be more along the lines of venture capitalism. So if you have a project that's needs 5 million or more in funding, and you can show a huge return, but you need to find investors, companies out there that will invest with you, help you develop that product, then SBIC or venture capitalist may be the way to go. Some people are worried about giving up part of their company in order to grow that way. But if you're looking for high risk, high return money, that's where you need to turn to. Otherwise, the project may not get funded, even through SBA's regular programs. SBIR is another acronym, Small Business Innovation and Research. And this is actually a grant program, but it's a grant program that's set aside for technology. So there are several, actually there's a couple of dozen SBIR recipients in Delaware. These are somewhat limited. They're difficult to get, but because of the nature of the technology. But we have awarded more than our fair share to Delaware, and it's a little bit of a technology hotbed using University of Delaware and some other areas of the state. So SBIR is a well-known program in Delaware, and if you fall into that category of technology-based, then that could be a possibility, and that is available for nonprofit as well as for-profit. Last but not least, I mentioned on this slide surety bond, and that is if you own a business that requires bonding of some sort. Bonding is a special type of insurance that is sometimes required for security work or contracting or construction. So if you have trouble getting bonding, we can help you get bonding through what's called surety bonds. We have bonding companies that will participate in this program, and that have will help you get bonding in cases where you may not be able to conventionally. Next slide, please. Okay. A little bit more about what we do. We partner. We partner with our friends at different organizations throughout the state. These are also national organizations, so they're available in every state. And these, in effect, are some of our grant recipients, and they're all both based around, their mission is based around business development. So that's our grant recipients are what we call direct resource partners. And again, if your mission is around business development, there may be an opportunity for you to receive a grant from SBA. We advertise them we use grants.gov to do that. And these are standing grants that are available every year. Sometimes we move them around, like we have different women's business centers. But these are grants that are available. And then every once in a while, we work with, there'll be an opportunity for a grant that comes out that doesn't go to one of these three organizations. So would be good to get on grant.gov and receive our information, because that comes out with not a lot of notice, but and you just never know when they're going to send it out. So it'd be good to keep track of those on grants.gov. So let me mention these organizations. Small Business Development Center is through the University of Delaware. They're one of our grant recipients. Their job is to help you start, grow, and succeed in a small business. And they're a grant recipient. They've been around since the 80s under this program, and they do very well. And that's part of our training aspect that we do at SBA. The second organization that we use is called SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. These are men and women that have owned their own business in the past and that have volunteered their time to help you. Even if you're a nonprofit, some of them have a nonprofit background, and they can help you with any questions, any advice that you may have. Fun fact that SCORE started here in Delaware with some group of retirees from DuPont that wanted to give back to the community. It started out with about 8 people that were retired that did this work on a volunteer basis. They now have over 40,000 volunteers nationwide, and they're coming up on their 55th year in existence. So SCORE is a great organization started right here in Delaware. And then last but not least, we have our Women's Business Center. It is up in Wilmington, but they do have representatives in downstate counties as well. And Sarah Jones is our director there at Women's Business Center. They're one of our grant recipients. They can help you with any questions you may have. They do work with male clients, but of course their focus is on women programming and other opportunities for women's businesses. Let's see. Can I have the next slide, Victoria? Thank you. Somebody mentioned sam.gov earlier. That's where we send people when they first start out with federal government contracting. Get on SAM. And this is another part of SBA. So SBA has basically what we call our 3 C's, and this is the third one. So capital, counseling, and then now contracting. This is the last one. And we also have set-asides for small businesses. So if you fall into a category of not only a small business, but if you're a woman-owned business, veteran, disabled veteran, we have set-asides for that, as well as HubZone and 8A. You can see the first listing there is what we call self-certification. So when you register with SAM, it'll ask you questions about, are you a woman-owned business? Are you service disabled? Are you veteran? And you just say yes, click a box, say yes on that, and that's what we call self-certification. That is that allows people to find you, folks that are interested in working with you to meet their goals. They will search SAM for companies that way they want to award contracts to, and there are strict goals on these companies, as well as federal government contractors, as well as federal agencies, to use SAM to find folks that are interested in government contracting. The last program mentioned there is actually a certification. The last 2, you have to go through a certification process, and that's our 8A business development. It's open for women, minorities, and veterans, as well as our HubZone, and that's open for businesses that are in low income, high unemployment areas. Regardless of ownership, they don't have to be a special category in order to be a HubZone company. but you do have to employ people from that area, from the areas of high unemployment as well, and low income. And HubZone is a good program for government contracting. Gives you advantage on a lot of other companies that are out there. So take a look at that if you have an interest in fulfilling government contracts. Next slide, please. Victoria, still with me? Thank you. No, one more. Thank you. Oh, last. Oh, okay. Always. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide, but always like to tell people some of the companies that have received government assistance over the years. The companies on the left are the national companies that we like to talk about. You see those household names that are nationwide. And of course, we have our own list on the right of household names that have received SBA assistance in some way, some of them funding, some of them government contracting. You know, I'm sure you recognize some of those names that are there that we were able to assist. I've been around so long that I was here when a lot of these were started, and a couple of those were my loans when I was a junior loan officer some almost 30 years ago. So I'd like to tell you about those. We won't tell you about our companies that didn't succeed. We always talk about our success stories. We'll stay positive today. And that's my last slide, I believe. Is there one more, Victoria? Or are we done? I believe that's my last one. Yeah.
It is. Would you like me
Okay,
to?
good. Thank you so much. Great
Sure.
job. Thank you. And I really want to hear from the audience. I'd love to hear your questions. If you have a comment or question that is somewhat personal and you want to talk offline, we could do that as well. Again, John.Fleming at SBA.gov. And if you want my cell phone number, 302-530-2554. Again, 302-530-2554. That's my direct business cell. Give me a call on that, text me on that, whatever you want to do, and I'll see what I can do to help you out. So.
And I did put John's information in the chat for everyone to see.
There it is. There it is. Great. Thank you. Do we have questions that I can help you with?
If folks want to raise their hands, and I can unmute people as questions come up.
Okay, looks like the next question is, are any of these opportunities,
Or you could drop them in the chat.
available for expansion of the business that will create jobs? Meaning, for example, purpose and relocation. First one, a location of expand taking the program.
Okay. I see, and please forgive me, I might mispronounce your name. I'm going to ask to unmute you to ask your question.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for this presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful. I started a CNA training school in Laurel, Delaware, and I applied for an SBA loan. But the school started, actually, we got licensed in March. Right when we get licensed, the governor ordered that the schools be closed because of COVID. And then I didn't have much of revenue that first year. And then the SBA is relying on 2019 tax return, which I don't have much of a return. And so I couldn't be approved for a loan. So can I text you personally? I just wanted to make sure you knew I was out there.
Yes, you can. And you, of course, anyone can do that. But the that is a bit of a I've heard this from time to time. You know, economic, the loan that you're referring to is open to the one that's open to nonprofits as well as for-profits under EIDL, and that is what the name of it is. Basically I'm trying to think of the word, but it's self-explanatory. So economic injury disaster loan shows that there's been an economic injury. So that's why we're looking at 2019 versus 2020, and that's why sometimes people like yourself may not qualify. Now, the good news, though, the good news is that under the next bill, the Build Back Better bill, that will include some money for outside of direct funds, outside of the EIDL program. So we'll no longer, in some cases, you can apply outside of the EIDL. It'll be direct money, and folks like you will have a better chance of qualifying because you won't have to show the 2019 to 2020 loss. Hopefully that makes it into the bill. I know it's a big part of it right now, and stay tuned for that. But yeah, feel free to text me, and I'll be happy to help you out.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We have any other
questions? Remember, you can raise your hand or you can drop them in the chat.
I see a question here. Should I just?
Yep, if they've direct messaged you, feel free to answer it here.
Okay, yeah, I just saw one pop up on the screen. And it said, oh, maybe if I hit chat, right? Oh, look at that, chat worked. I'm really bad, Victoria. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Let's see. The one I'm seeing here says, could I speak a little more about the 8A business development program? Yes, that program is a set-aside program, and meaning that once you're in that program, the government has mandated that a certain amount of contracts go into the 8A program. That is available for anything from, people that make military equipment all the way to people that clean office buildings and everything in between. I've seen video companies, all kinds of different companies that are qualified under 8A. It's a 9-year program. And one of the key tips to this is you don't want to get in too soon because you have a 9-year window. If you get into 8A, what we call 8A, and you get certified, and in the first, maybe let's say the first year of existence as a business, you may not, even though you're 8A qualified, you may not be able to land some of these contracts because you may have other 8As that are competing with you who are more sophisticated, more experienced, and the agency, the government agency may go with a different 8A company. So you want to hit your sweet spot whenever you feel like you're ready to do a government contracting. And that certainly is not usually in the first or second year of existence. So don't get in too early when it comes to 8A contracting. Again, a 9-year program. It also provides training as well. It's more than just getting yourself on a list. You will be assigned a business advisor free of charge. That person will help you find opportunities at government agencies and bases and those. We have a very good, we have a company called Mountain Consulting in Dover, Delaware, and they're a very good success story. Met them many years, about 8 years ago. And they've done extremely well under the 8A program. And they've figured out how to work the program itself, and have received many contracts, not only here in the state of Delaware, but also other parts of the country.
Hey,
Let's
John,
see.
I have a question that was sent to me, and they are asking about where should a nonprofit turn for payroll reserves?
Well, I mean, I would, yeah, I see that. Okay, so that normally that would fall under the category of what we call working capital. You can turn to, I would say, a commercial lender will talk to you. Normally government doesn't work other than grants that are direct grants from the government. Normally government economic agencies are restricted for profits in most cases. I mean, I pointed out a few times when we have worked with nonprofits, but nonprofits are not eligible for our working capital program. You'd have to go directly to a bank. And the reason that is you know, the idea of government funding these programs under for profit is to create a tax base, and that the government doesn't receive the same tax base under and tax revenue under nonprofits as they do for profits. So I would go to a commercial lender, talk to them. I'm involved with a nonprofit here locally, and that's what we did. We went to just a regular bank, and they were looking to lend money, and they were able to get a loan. So just go to any one of your lender that you're comfortable with here in Delaware, and they should be able to help you out. Let's see.
Great.
Uh,
Well, I have another question, John.
Okay.
Someone asks, is it better to work with SCORE or SBDC?
Oh, that's a great question. Very talented people on both sides of the aisle there, both sides. Sorry, that sounded political, both sides of the aisle. But they're very talented people. It depends on, honestly, on where you are in your business. If you are, or even your nonprofit, if you're starting out and you're just starting out, and you want to know some basic information like, you know, where do I register my business? Where can I find assistance in different areas? Can you recommend an accountant? That kind of stuff. Then I would say go to SCORE. If you want to flesh some ideas, if you want to find somebody that's experienced in that business, that would definitely be SCORE. If you're a little more developed company, and you want to ask some technical questions about maybe exporting or expanding your marketing base, or all kinds of very technical, maybe that next level, then I would contact the SBDC. And I don't know if I mentioned, but they have representatives in all 3 counties of the state. So it's not like you have to come up to Newark to work with them. So that's how I would handle it in trying to make those choices. Let's see.
Again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or drop them in the chat, or you can send them to me and I will ask them for you. Or if you don't have any questions, just have a comment, feel free to also drop those in the chat as well.
Oh, let me get back here. Okay, I have one here, Victoria. Let me see. So Naya asks, says that they are a real estate investor and wanted to, would I be able to apply for? Okay, so this person's a real estate investor, and would they be able to apply for a loan? Maybe I need a little more information on it, but let me try to answer where we are. So there's two different types of real estate investors. There's one that is commercial, and you can apply for a loan not through the SBA for commercial real estate investor. Now, let me just back this up. If you're a small business and you want to buy your building, yes, you can apply for an SBA loan. If you're an owner-occupied building, even if you have 2 or 3 businesses that want to occupy that building together and they want to own the property together, that's okay. They can apply for SBA. If you're strictly just a real estate investor, someone that owns a piece of commercial property and rents it to businesses, that is not an eligible use of SBA funds. You would go directly to a commercial lender for that one, and they should be able to help you. They're always looking for real estate investors. That's scenario number 1. That would be commercial investors. Scenario number 2, if you're a residential real estate investor, and this person doesn't say which one they are, but if you are a residential real estate investor, you can look at a commercial loan, talk to a lender. The other option sometimes is to look at the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, look at their website. They can provide funds to purchase properties for rent, as well as money to improve some of these properties. Take a look at the HUD website, and they should be able to help you. But that's not something SBA would cover in our mission. See if I can find any more.
And John, was that question from Naya?
Yes.
she asked, or excuse me, they asked if they could quickly explain. So I'm going to unmute them.
Sure, no problem.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. I am an investor and I have properties and I wanted to rent out to military veterans. That
Mhm.
was like my goal for that. So how do I go for like applying for a loan, not to buy the property or anything, but like to go inside, fix it up, remodel it? Is there a loan for me for that, government funding for that, or I have to actually take a personal loan?
Mm,
I
yeah,
didn't know which way to go
Yeah.
with it.
yeah. Well, not through the SBA. You may be able to apply through HUD or even the Veterans Administration for
Okay.
that. I'm not sure if they have money available for that, especially because you're not going to own the property. You'd have to
Yeah,
contact
I
them.
own the property.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You already own it. Yes. So
Yes.
yes, so talk to either HUD or the Veterans Administration. That's not something the SBA would look at
Okay.
or consider, but yeah, you would want to talk to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Naya, I'll drop my contact information in the chat as well. So if you want to reach out to our office, I'm happy to assist.
Cool.
And then I have another question for you, Johns. Karen asks if there is a good person to speak with if they are not awarded a grant. They applied for the EDGE grant but did not get it. And if there's any way for them to get feedback on the grant that they did not receive.
I've had this question a lot. We're actually not the EDGE grant. The EDGE grant is the state of Delaware. So we're federal side. The state grant, they have a new director. It's no longer Damien. It's another, we'll have to find that director's name. But yes, the EDGE grant was for, it was through the state, and I get those questions a lot, but no, you'd have to contact them. Delaware Division of Small Business, I know, is the name of the organization that administered the EDGE grant. I'm sure you can Google them and they'll be able to help you out. Let's see what we have here. Thank you for person. I think I see a question here, Victoria. Are there opportunities now available for faith-based organizations, or is EIDL the only opportunity that's SBA backed? Yes, it's the second part. So for faith-based organizations, assuming you're a nonprofit, then EIDL is the only opportunity that is SBA, that is available through SBA. And again, I mentioned, I can't say it enough. December 31st is the deadline to apply for EIDL for both nonprofit and for-profit. You do not have to have, they made a change to this recently. You do not have to have your application completely approved by December 31st. You just have to start the application, receive an application number that gets you into the system, and by December 31st, and then therefore you are in the system by the deadline, and then we'll work with you to approve your loan, to process your loan after that. So that's what we have available for now. Again, through the Build Back Better bill, there may be some more money available for EIDL that will be outside of COVID related. We'll see if that happens. Sometimes programs are put into bills and taken out at the last minute, but right now we are scheduled to receive more money under the Build Back Better bill. So we got a nice comment here, Victoria. You and I, super helpful. Thanks for your confirming. That's always nice to hear.
It is. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, thanks for running my slides. I'm always a mess trying to figure that out. I mean, I didn't even get the logo right, but hey, COVID, just blame everything on COVID. Any other questions? I don't see any. I don't know how we're doing on time. We have a little bit of time. I don't know if we want to. If something comes up, just text me at any time, call me. and I'll be happy to help you if you have any questions.
I am seeing another question here from Roland. Roland says they were awarded an EIDL loan, I guess earlier in the year. And so he made an attempt to reopen the loan recently, but was having issues with it. Roland, I'm not sure if you'd like to, if you'd like me to unmute you, and I can, so that you can explain a little bit more.
Yeah, I could. That would be something I could answer. Whoever has any questions on EIDL, if they need to contact me directly, please provide your application number, and I'll be able to look into the system and to see if there's any notes in there that will tell me exactly what's going on. I know our centers are overwhelmed. Customer service is overwhelmed, so we've been able to help them out. Again, I need your application number, and a lot of times I can find out whether or not you're missing an item or if there's a technical issue. So we've been pretty helpful with those situations. We can't solve all the problems because the notes don't tell me a whole lot sometimes, but yeah, please contact me directly if you have questions about hiccups with your EIDL loan. I'll be able to help out. Okay. Anybody else popping up? Entered. We have somebody in. Okay.
No other questions, comments?
I should check my phone. Maybe people have contacted me already. I'm just kidding. Some people don't like to put it up in the chat. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I have 3 texts. Let's see here. Oh, none of them are related. None of them. Okay. Should we release them? Maybe people want to go to another room.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if no one has any other questions or comments or concerns, I would say you're free to go and join. Oh, thank you for letting me know. All the other rooms are done.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we get a little break before. I don't think this one's till what, noon? Start
Yep.
up again?
Yep.
Okay.
So for everyone on this call, the next breakout sessions will start at noon. So that's in about 20 minutes. And just as a reminder, you'll be able to choose from 3 different rooms. One's with the Economic Development Agency. The other one is with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Rural Development Division. And then the third option is for private funding and resources.
Great. Great. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you so much, John, for all of your knowledge here today. I'm sure it was very helpful to everyone on the call.
Yeah, my pleasure. Look forward to hearing from everyone. Thank you.